In 1968, I was a young combat infantryman in South Vietnam. That was 54 years ago. I was 19. I'll pause here as you do the math. That would make him, yes it does, no need to dwell. And when acquaintances find out that I'm a Vietnam veteran, they will often, and they're just being nice, but they'll often say something along the lines of, "Oh, thank you for your service." And I know they're being kind and they're being nice, but it makes me a little uncomfortable and I feel conflicted about that. And in my discomfort, I am liable to say, well, I often say something stupid, like, well, it wasn't entirely my idea. There were powerful forces of the federal government that insisted on my participation. But that's not entirely true either, because I wasn't drafted. That's right. I joined the Army at the height of the Vietnam War. And when friends learn this fact, they are often surprised because they judge, and I like to think fairly accurately, they judge that I am not a gung-ho, John Wayne, militaristic kind of guy. So why then did I join? Well, 3 reasons. Reason number 1, and possibly the most important, I was an idiot. Reason number 2, no student deferment. After 2 lackluster and disinterested semesters at college, my grade point average attendance and college career had flatlined. And reason number 3, now I recognize there's some overlap between reason number 1 and reason number 2. Reason 3, I was going to be drafted. There's no doubt about it. In 1968, we had 500,000 troops and support personnel in Vietnam. We were suffering 100 or so combat deaths every week. And to maintain that war effort, the government was drafting 30,000 men. Back then the draft only pertained to men. 30,000 men each and every month. I was healthy, unmarried, no deferment, 1A. Uncle Sam was coming for me, and he was coming soon. And I figured that rather than be dragged through that door, I would walk through it. And I remember thinking at the time that this somehow gave me some control over my life. I again refer you to reason number 1. By 1968, the Vietnam War was very controversial. There were campus unrest, riots, pro-war demonstrations that turned violent, anti-war demonstrations that turned violent. The Chicago police just beat the hell out of peaceful protesters at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. It was a divisive and difficult time. And again, I was 19 and I did not delve. This was bubbling up through the culture. It was there, but I'm 19 years old and I did not delve into the morality of the war, the justification of the war. I was 19. Discernment was not my forte. And you could say that I didn't have the courage to not go to war. And it was easier for me to go than it was to resist. To resist, oh my God. I mean, to become a draft dodger? That would bring shame on my family. My parents would be ashamed of me. People would think I was a coward. I could go to jail. And didn't I have a duty, a responsibility to serve my country? And wasn't America always right? So it was easier for me to go than it was to not go. So I went. Spoiler alert, I came back. And I'm not here to tell you any war stories tonight. You are welcome. But I wanted to talk about a friend of mine. He's an attorney. He's politically active, and I've known him for some 20-odd years. now, and a few years ago, we were just having a conversation, and the subject of Vietnam came up, and he told me that the week he graduated from law school, he was drafted, but he refused to step forward and be inducted. He wouldn't take the oath. He was a conscientious objector, and he objected to the war on moral grounds and was not going to participate. And I was just amazed by this because, I mean, here's this guy, he's 22, 23 years old tops, and he is making this moral decision. I mean, he's risking everything. He's just starting. He hasn't started his law career yet, and he's risking that. He's risking going to jail. He's risking his freedom. He's risking his career, all for a moral principle. And I just found that to be really remarkable. And in my book, that decision to take that stand, that moral stand, and stay and face those consequences, that undeniably took courage. Took a lot of courage. And by saying that took courage, that in no way denigrates the sacrifices and the courage of those that went to war. However, in this country, we do deserve to honor our veterans and support our veterans. And they have visible and invisible scars that need our support and our help. But in this country, we don't have a way to honor people who sacrifice for peace. And we might be a better country if we did. We don't even recognize the courage it takes to not go to war. So tonight, on behalf of my friend and for all those who took that moral stand and stayed to face the consequences of not going to war, this Vietnam veteran wants to say, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to not go to war.